everyone. Happy Tuesday. I'm so glad that you're here. This is the place where we keep it honest, inspiring, and entertaining. So let's dive in. So, as you know, for the last couple of days, I was talking about the White House Correspondent dinner shooting that happened this past Saturday. And what really struck me that why this had to happen. What was the end goal? And I keep hearing on social media and around that President Trump wanted this ballroom. This ballroom. This is why we needed a ballroom. And I'm like, what is so special about the ballroom? Then I kept going back and looking at the footage and looking at everything, and something doesn't seem right to me. Okay, and I know that I explained it last week, over the weekend, and was this, again, I believe this was staged. I believe this was a psyop. I believe that maybe Trump did all this because he wants to get his ballroom to prove a point that, listen, I'm not safe. You know what I mean? We have this crazy unhinged man almost got into the ballroom and tried to kill me among other people. And then I'm like thinking, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And then when I started to look at the footage, I'm like, this is crazy. Like, this is absolutely crazy. So I just want to remind people, if people was not aware of this, they should, because it was all over reporting to the mainstream media. So I just wanted to I want you guys, to take a brief look at how the shooting and everything and how people responded to it. Take a listen.
It was just after 8:30 p.m. Saturday when a sudden commotion from the back of the White House Correspondents' dinner sent us scrambling, many ducking under tables as Secret Service rushed the president and other Trump cabinet members from the room.
It's absolute mayhem inside. Reports of some sort of shots. I was sitting 3 rows up from the president.
Less than 2 hours later, President Trump posted surveillance footage of the suspect racing through a Secret Service checkpoint toward the ballroom. And these images of him shirtless and handcuffed on the floor. Law enforcement sources tell CBS News the suspect is 31-year-old Cole Allen, a teacher from Southern California.
Okay, so we can get out of this really quickly. So I believe this was a psyop. I believe that this was all planned in motion so Donald Trump can get his ballroom, because according to my source, they told me that the judge denied the ballroom. Okay, that it had to get approved by Congress. So therefore, if he doesn't get his ballroom, it's over. It's done and over with. That he has to get the approval from Congress. And anyway, once the ballroom is completed, done by construction, it's going to be 2028. He's going to be out of the White House. So I don't know why he was pressing on this so hard, and the far right. Of pushing it so hard for this ballroom. And according to my source, that President Trump never been to a correspondent dinner ever. This was his first one, which, by the way, it's on the fan because I'm like super hot. Which by the way, excuse me, that's very odd to me. Very, very suspect. But I want you to take a listen to this gentleman. He's called Hot Mike, and he was talking about how the lack, if I can say a better word, a lack of security. Take a listen to what he had to say about that.
I love that they have like 2 random chicks holding the front door open.
Yeah, that's
We're not even trying anymore. It's not even like, I just mean like they're not even like Secret Service people. It's like the girls who work here are holding the door. Even if it was the guys, it wouldn't even make it better. It's like she's fucking just.
He didn't even know the mic was on.
Like they might as well
He
put
got
a
caught.
doorstop in. Like, they put up a doorstop and a scarecrow. Don't fuck with this guy.
I'm an idiot. Yeah. So I agree, because as you can hear in his own words, in his own mouth, that it was really lack of security. So I don't understand why reporters or the administrator of Trump saying that security was tight, security was good, when you heard it from his own mouth that there was a really lack of security. Also, I can't remember the woman that attended to that event. She was on Piers Morgan, and forgive me, I don't remember her name in the top of my head. She even said to Piers Morgan that when she walked into the ballroom and one of the gentlemen asked her if she was supposed to attend to that event, the only thing that gentleman asked is just a ticket, and she explained to Piers Morgan that ticket was backwards, like it didn't have like he didn't even see her name, her first or last name or anything. The security didn't even asked for photo ID. So therefore, if Cole Allen would have just walked in and showed like a piece of paper, he would have walked into the ballroom and then that gentleman would have started shooting at everyone. That's what she said in her own words. So you should definitely check out Piers Morgan interview when she explained that security didn't even ask for photo ID. It was basically what she's saying in layman's terms. It was lack of security. Now, I want you to take a listen to this next video. It's his name is Larry Johnson. He's a former CIA officer, and he even said that he doesn't understand how the whole setup was, how it was just a lack of security, that it was a psyop. This was all staged, in his opinion. And looking back, and I explained that last weekend, that I believe it was staged. I believe that Trump wanted to get this ballroom on board and press the judge and Congress. See, this is what we need. This is what we need. We need the ballroom. We need the ballroom, which is just insane to me that President Trump is willing to risk lives over a ballroom. Like, really? This is what we're dealing with? This is what we're doing right now over a ballroom that you're not going to even see in 2028 because you're going to be done with your presidency? I just don't understand how we got here. How we got here that they can just try to fool the public, try to fool the American people and get sympathy over a ballroom. It's just really pathetic and sad. But take a listen to Larry Johnson, what he has to say in regards to Correspondent dinner, what happened last Saturday.
Yeah. The story stinks to high heaven. Let me explain some of the issues. And let me emphasize, this is not just my opinion. I've got a buddy who ran Reagan's security detail after Reagan was shot. Experienced Secret Service officer. He actually set up the training protocols that Secret Service is supposed to adhere to, which they are no longer following. Now, let me emphasize that. So the first thing that caught my eye, the first person that's taken off the stage. So you got gunfire outside of the ballroom. It's not inside the ballroom. The first person to be taken off stage was J.D. Vance. And I look at it and go, what in God's name is going on? The protocol, the standard, the requirement is the president. Get the president, everybody.
And he's not lying. He is absolutely correct. It is the president of the United States. That is Secret Service priority to get him out. The president, then the vice president. And they did it ass backwards, in my opinion. Okay, they Secret Service ran in there and just took J.D. Vance so quickly. It was like 4 seconds, opposed to Donald Trump. It was like, to me, 20 seconds. Okay, he was on the ground. He tried to get up, and then he was on the ground. It was just all over the place. That 20 seconds just to remove him, to put him somewhere in safety, plain sight. Okay, it's crazy, and he's absolutely right. It should have been the president of the United States to be escorted out of the room first before J.D. Vance.
Nobody else can die. The president, that's who you save. That's what Secret Service is supposed to be trained to do. They didn't do that. They take off J.D. Vance. So you're going, okay, what's going on? Trump initially, everybody else is ducking behind tables. He's sitting there calmly looking around.
Exactly. So when you heard the shatter and the noise and the records, he was just cool like a cucumber, like I said, like nothing. Everyone was frantic, ducking down, going underneath the table. Like, it seemed like he was expecting this. It seemed like he was aware that what's going to happen. You don't have to take my word for it. Go back and look at the footage. He looked very calm and collected. Like he just wanted to just to look around to see what was going on, what was happening. He didn't even duck down. His wife did. Caroline Levitt ducked down. Everyone except for him. He just said that, I just wanted to see what was going on. I want to be curious. Boy, bye. You knew. He knew exactly what was going to happen. And then he's trying to gaslight the public, saying that, we need a ballroom. You know, I almost got assassinated when this was all planned and staged in the first place.
Unlike, did he know this was going to happen?
Yes.
Was this staged? I believe it was
Yes.
staged, and we'll get
I
into
believe so,
that.
too.
The second thing is the failure of the security perimeter, that it was not properly set up. So the way this should be done is you have a perimeter outside the hotel, okay? So you set the first layer, that nobody gets past that first layer unless they have a right to be in that hotel. They can show that they're a guest or that they got an invitation. Otherwise, nobody gets.
Exactly. Exactly. I agree with Larry. I 100% agree with him. None of it makes sense. It's very suspicious to me. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, how could you say it was staged? How can you say this? Yeah, I can say that because that is my opinion. I feel and I believe that this was staged. And it's not only me who thinks that. The whole world thinks that. Everyone thinks that. Everyone's saying that this was staged. Okay? You cannot try to fool the public and say that we don't have eyes to see. We don't see what's going on. Clearly we see that, and you trying to fool the public, fool the American people that, oh, what we saw did not happen. Like, no, you're crazy. You're crazy. They're crazy, actually. They think that they can try to fool us and say, oh, what you're looking at, what you have witnessed, it didn't happen that way. It didn't go down that way. Obviously, it did go down that way because none of it makes sense. Even you have professionals who was a former CIA, who was a military thing. They even said it too. You don't have to take my word for it. Go back and look at the footage yourself. That what happened Saturday. Okay, this looked like it was staged because he want to try to make his point to get his freaking ballroom. It's absolutely crazy to me. But look at the footage again, which I already showed to you guys already, of Secret Service removing J.D. Vance. So quickly, so fast. 4 seconds. 4 seconds. Take a look. All right. Oh, you won. You want to go? Okay. Went back. Where? See? Drop down on the ground. And they're trying to pick him up and bring him back to safety. Into safety, excuse me. Absolutely.
Where's it at?
It's crazy, but they trying to tell us you don't have eyes. You don't have eyes. And what's really weird too, which mainstream media is not talking about that this strange phone call. Okay, let me tell you right now, really quickly. Let me pull it up. If I can find it. Okay, so there was a news reporter was talking to Fox News, and the phone got cut off because she was basically saying she was warning there was going to be shots fired, and it cut off 30 seconds into the conversation. Why is that? Because she didn't want people, or the reporter or Fox News, they didn't want the public to know what was really going to happen. Like, basically what she was saying is true. What everyone else is saying, that this was a psyop, this was staged, it doesn't make any sense. Why cut off the conversation? You know what I mean? She knew that she was on the phone with Fox News, the reporter. So why it got cut off? To me, that looks suspicious. But I'm going to remind you guys again. So take a listen to the phone call.
I'm sitting next to Caroline Levitt, the press secretary's husband. He was one of our guests. He was seated right next to me, and right as the dinner was starting, the national anthem happened, and then he kind of leaned over and said, I watched you on TV, you do a great job. You need to be very safe. And he was just very serious when he said that to me. And he kind of looked around the room and he said, there are some.
And that's when the conversation got cut off. And they're going to say, well, there was something wrong with the mic,
like we
or
lost Aisha's phone there. And this happens, by the way.
Bullshit. You know what I mean? They knew that she was going to say more, and they cut off the mic because they didn't want her to continue saying what she was about to say, which we will never know. We will never know what she was going to say. on that other line. We will never know because they cut it off. They cut the mic off, and because it was technical difficulty. There was no static. There was no interference. There was nothing like that. They knew what she was going to say, and they cut it off immediately. So therefore, that makes me to believe.
So many people attempting to utilize the same cell service at the same time.
Which that's bullshit, by the way. Which that makes me to believe it was staged. This was the whole thing staged. It was orchestrated just for a freaking ballroom. It's absolutely disgusting. And you know, what doesn't make any sense to me about the suspect, Cole Allen, this man has no criminal history, okay? He was a teacher of the month. He was, graduated from college. He was smart, you know what I mean? So I don't understand that he just, traveled from Los Angeles to, Los Angeles to Chicago to DC by train, got a hotel, checked in at a hotel, which let me tell you my notes, on Friday, okay, to the 10th floor. And then, the time of the shooting was 8:34 Saturday p.m. Then he checked in on Friday, okay, and then 10th floor. Then all of a sudden he got his guns, his knives, and then he just starts shooting. He shot one of the Secret Service. That's what and then when I look back the footage, I'm like, there was so many Secret Service around that area where he was running. Why they didn't shoot him? I know Allen shot one of the Secret Service, and then the bulletproof vest saved his life, thank God. But why the other Secret Service didn't grab him? Because if you look at the footage, there was other Secret Service while he was running. That didn't make any sense to me when I look back and look at the footage. That does not make sense to me whatsoever. So that leads me to believe, did they do something to this gentleman to make him go crazy to make his attempt to assassinate President Trump? And what I'm talking about is MK Ultra. That's still around. That program's still around. They think that they think that the program doesn't exist. It exists. Maybe they did that to him. Because what other explanation is it? The man don't have no criminal record. He's smart. He has degrees and everything. I just don't understand it. I just don't understand how a man that's educated, teacher of the month, no criminal history, nothing to the source. Okay, yes, he did. He wrote a manifesto. However, all of a sudden he just wants to, travel around from the country and to kill President Trump. I believe he probably was AK Ultra. I believe that they did something to him to make him do that, to make him make the attempt to assassinate President. Because my thing is, if he was shooting shots fired, right? Why did Secret Service didn't kill him? That's their job. If shots are fired, that's their job to put someone down, to eliminate danger. But they didn't do that. They let him ran across, and then they reprimand him. I don't get that. That makes no sense to me. If shots are fired and he shot one of the Secret Service, you would think you would try to put a bullet on his leg, shoulder, whatever, to slow him down. Don't make no sense to me whatsoever. Don't make no sense. But take a look at this footage.
Who was awarded Teacher of the Month at a college prep academy in December of 2024. He left for Washington from Los Angeles by train last Tuesday, checking into the Washington Hilton on Friday, just a day before the dinner.
Multiple sources have told CBS News that the suspect stayed somewhere here at the end of the corridor on the 10th floor of this hotel. But there's something I want you to see. Just steps away from these rooms is this stairwell, and that leads directly down the stairs to that terrace level where he allegedly opened fire.
And he probably knew that because he probably looked at the floor plan or someone told him. Duh.
Armed with a shotgun, a handgun, and multiple knives.
Police said the suspect exchanged fire with law enforcement. He was not hit, but a Secret Service officer was. Officials told us by shotgun pellets.
Why he don't have his shirt on? I don't understand though. Did they remove his shirt? And a lot of people say, oh, they removed his shirt to make sure he doesn't have any bombs or any devices on him. They could have patted him down. Why they have to remove his shirt? That part don't make no sense to me either. because if he had any type of one, they should, pat him down. I just never seen someone who made an attempt to kill someone and they remove their shirt. Usually they pat him down after they subdue the suspect. They pat him down to make sure that there's not any other devices, any weapons, but to remove their shirt, which is just very odd to me. And also, by the way, a lot of people saying the reason why a lot of people saying that is staged because of the first attempt of President Trump. We don't know anything. We just know that Thomas Crook was the guy that shot President Trump, and that's it. There was no investigation. There was nothing. Basically, it was just like case closed. He's cremated. He's done. That's it. So yes, a lot of people are going to be suspicious or not spectacle. What's the word? A lot of people are going to be suspicious. Because of this, because there was no investigation of his first attempt assassination. Now this is his third assassination attempt, and people are just not buying it. They're just not buying it because what happened the first time. The second time, yes, they caught the guy. Thank God. There's no investigation with that either. And this one, that's what no one's not buying it. That's why it doesn't make any sense how they didn't shoot the guy when he opened fire and shot one of the the Secret Service guy, but they just let him continue to run until they subdued him. That makes no sense to me. That's what I'm saying. Everything seems fake and gay. All of this is fake and gay.
That hit his bulletproof vest.
So right there at the dais where you see that flag, that's where President Trump was sitting. In this area here is where C-SPAN was, and it was up the stairs here, just over that landing where the gunman sprinted about 20 yards from where I'm standing. There's a black drape.
He sprinted. So you're trying to tell me none of the other head of security or whatever couldn't just grab him and subdue him?
Hanging over one of the glass panels that was shot out here, and that's where he was taken down, right over there.
According to law enforcement sources, just minutes before the shooting, he posted what they described as a manifesto, writing that he was targeting Trump administration officials, quote, from highest ranking to lowest. He also appeared shocked by the security protocol, writing in part, quote, I expected security cameras at every bend, bugged hotel rooms, armed agents every 10 feet, metal detectors out the wazoo. What I got is nothing. He also wrote, apparently no one thought about what happens if someone checks in the day before. Still,
he ain't lying. And this is not the first person that said that. Multiple people have said that. Multiple people have said that, you guys. Yes, the head of security, Secret Service, yes, they did their job by removing J.D. Vance first, and then Donald Trump second, and Robert F. Kennedy and his wife. It's like, it's just crazy to me that they didn't even get the wife first, the women first, excuse me. It was all the gentlemen, which, by the way, is just crazy to me and messed up. Usually you should get the women first and then the men. That's just my opinion. Again, I don't work for Secret Service, so I don't know their protocols and how things work. But they did everything as backwards to me. After looking at the footage and watching it over and over again, it doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't make any sense. And I agree. Just like Hot Mike, he even said something about the security perimeter. Larry Johnson, I'm saying it. Even Cole Allen saying it. The other woman that was on Piers Morgan's show yesterday, she said it too. So there was a little bit of lack of security, in my opinion. Now, I want to show you this 2017 footage of Cole Allen. And basically, he was developing wheelchair brakes emergency lock wheels. And 14 different other tech startup wanted to present this as well. Now, what is very fascinating is OSHA Vance was there at the time at 2017 at the tech conference. Now, it doesn't mean that she knew Cole Allen. Maybe it was just a coincidence that he was happening to be there while she was there. It doesn't mean anything. It could mean nothing, to be honest with you. It's not. I'm not saying that they knew each other. She was there doing some type of advance regarding this tech, and he was there presenting his invention, what he was doing. And this was back in 2017, you guys. So take a listen to this.
Allen developed a prototype for a wheelchair emergency brake.
The wheelchair brakes
tend to lock the wheels, but don't actually lock the chair to the ground. The idea with this is to prevent it from moving at all.
Recent Aging into the Future conference held by St. Barnabas Senior Services and the Eisner Foundation offered a test run on products that have the potential to enrich the life.
As you can see, that's JD Vance's wife, giving a presentation. Again, it doesn't mean, in my opinion, it doesn't mean that she knew Cole Allen, the suspect who attempted to murder President Trump. It just happened to be that he was there presenting this invention that he made for wheelchairs. Emergency wheelchair, excuse me.
Of seniors. 14 different tech startups got to present to over 350 people in the hopes of getting their projects into some sort of senior health facilities.
So what I'm saying is, this man seemed like he had a lot going on. He was not a dummy. He was very smart, very educated, and why he did this, you will never know. Maybe he was programmed. Maybe he was into that MK Ultra program, which still exists, which is still happening, by the way. Who knows? None of it makes sense, obviously, to me. And I know a lot of people say, well, you don't know what you're talking about. You're stupid. You're dumb. You're not making any sense. It's my opinion, and I'm entitled to have my opinion saying to the fact that this was staged. This was a psyop. And I don't need anyone to tell me otherwise, because I have eyes to see what is happening and what's going on. I just didn't know that this was all based on a ballroom. I just found that out today, to be honest with you. When I spoke about it last weekend, I had no idea this was all about a freaking ballroom, the reason why he was doing this. It's just crazy to me. And you have to look back to the footage, how Donald Trump reacted. He was calm. He didn't flinch. He didn't react. There was no reaction. That's just weird to me. If I hear a loud, banging noise, I'm going to turn my head and say, what the F is going on? What's happening here? And if I hear people screaming and I'm hearing pop, 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 whether it sounds like a firecracker, whether it sounds like something is thrown on the ground, I'm going to look around and figure out what's happening. He didn't do that. If you look at the footage, he did not do that. He was calm, collected, cool, like he knew what was about to happen, in my opinion. The last video that I'm about to show you is President Trump is doing a 60-minute interview, and he got really upset about the question that was given to him about the manifesto. The reporter asked him a question, and he got triggered by that. Now, a lot of people say, well, she did it on purpose. This would trigger Trump to get a reaction from him. I saw it completely different, to be honest with you, and I did watch the interview multiple times, because I heard and listened to other people's intake about it, and by me watching it, I got a different perspective, to be honest with you guys. She was just asking a question, and that's her job, is to report, to ask questions as a reporter. And the question that was given to Trump, he got triggered, he got upset. Like, why would you just answer the question? And if you didn't want to answer the question, don't answer the question. He just got very nasty and disrespectful towards a reporter, which I don't like. Reporters have a job to do. They're going to ask you uncomfortable questions. And if you don't like to answer the question, just be respectful and say, I don't want to answer it, respectfully, instead of coming hard and disrespectful towards her, which I don't like. She's a woman. You're the man. You're the president of the United States, the leader of the world. You have to be respectful. Whether you don't like the question that's been given to you or asked of you, you at least have to be respectful towards women. And I just see, by looking at this, he doesn't have respect for women. Only certain women that bow down to him and agree to him. And when women don't agree to him, or men too, that's when he goes after the jugular, if that makes sense. But take a listen to the 60-minute interview with Donald Trump.
Donald Trump appeared on CBS News 60 Minutes after the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Correspondent Norah O'Donnell read him excerpts from the suspected gunman's reported writings. The excerpts did not mention Trump by name.
And he also wrote this: I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I was waiting for you to read that because I knew you would, because you're horrible people, horrible people.
Okay, he said with his crime. Now, he didn't mention Donald Trump, but he was inciting him. So I can understand now looking back and watching it again, and how she inserted herself when she mentioned his name, told him, excuse me, well, do you think that he was talking about you? And that's when he got triggered and got upset. And you shouldn't get upset, you know? A lot of people say, and you said it too, you're protecting your pedophile friends. You are. You don't want to release the remainder 3 million files, and you don't want to do any investigations of your pedophile friends. You have said that to Marjorie Taylor Greene and multiple people. So you can't be upset when someone is upset with you, President Trump, when you're protecting pedophiles who abuse and rape children.
Yeah, he did write that. I'm not a rapist. I didn't rape anybody.
Do you think he was referring to you?
Excuse me. I'm not a pedophile. You read that crap from some sick person. I got associated with all stuff that has nothing to do with me. I was totally exonerated. You should be ashamed of yourself reading that, because I'm not any of those things.
Mr. President,
and
these
I was
are
never,
the gunman's words.
Excuse me. You shouldn't be reading that on 60 Minutes. You're a disgrace.
You're a disgrace. He got triggered, you know? He could have just easily answered the question or just ignore it and not answer, but he didn't have to get snotty like that, okay? The suspect did not refer to President Trump's name. He just said him, and then President Trump got triggered thinking that that manifesto was related to him. So I don't know. He got triggered by that, which he shouldn't. So that tells you something. Maybe he's guilty of something. Maybe he feels bad. Who knows with President Trump? All I'm going to say is, and this is the last time I'm going to be talking about this, because this was staged. This was a psyop. This was all set up just for a freaking ballroom. And like I said last weekend, thank God that no one didn't get hurt. Thank God. And the thing is, he would have just blamed the shooter when he's probably orchestrated and set this whole thing in motion himself. Okay, because none of it makes sense. And then they want us to trust them, believe them, what they're saying, what the mainstream media is telling us, when all of it is just a lie. Anyway, we can't trust the mainstream media. We can't trust President Trump. He lies all the time. He's not willing to tell the truth and come forward and be honest. They're not capable of doing that. They're not. So therefore, I don't believe anything what they say. So anything that happens, I don't believe it. I really don't, because they lie so much, and they are not willing to come forward and tell the truth about things that's going on, and they're saying they're protecting the American people. We don't need protection. We need honesty. We need transparency, and we need you to do the right thing for the people, which, by the way, you're not doing. Your administrators are not doing it. You're not doing it. All you do is just lie and cover up for your own benefits, not for the American people. So therefore, I don't believe anything that comes out of their mouth, the administrator's mouth, President Trump's mouth, anyone, because they're all lying. They're not for us. They're not trying to protect us. They're trying to protect their bank account and their statue and everything else. They don't care about us. And that's why we need to wake up and realize that, because everything that we're seeing and looking is not benefiting us, in my opinion. It's not. It's benefiting them and what they can get out of it. Anyway, you guys, that's all I have to say about that. Thank you so much for joining me here live. I really appreciate each and one of you. Stay safe. God bless. And I will see you guys on the next live. Take care.